my mic off. Turn the sound on. Just double check to make sure that they can hear us.
Okay, go ahead,
They should
Roger.
be able to. All right. Holy slap nuts, we're back. We are back after a whole year. A whole year of not being on this thing.
Lord have mercy.
It's been a minute. It's been a busy year, actually.
Yes.
And even so, right now, it's still pretty busy with everything going on right now. So, but we're all gonna make the best of it. Of course, who's screen sharing? Somebody screen sharing?
Am I screen sharing? No. Am I?
I don't know why that popped up just now. I don't know. In any case, it's your boy Kendrick Grey, the Dreadlock Blerd. Yeah, I changed my name since last time I was doing this. And welcome back to Council of the Blerds. It's been a minute since we did a Geekcast, as I already mentioned before, but we figured now is a better time than any to get right back into this thing, considering what's going on with this COVID-19 pandemic. As you can see, there's only 4 of us right now. Matthew V. Haynes, the Clockmaster, a few months ago decided that he had to take a step back from the Geekcast, only because he's been busy with a lot of other projects on his own. And if you follow him on his YouTube channel, then you know he's been like super hella busy with that, as well as like streaming, posting up content, selling merchandise, and a whole bunch of other different stuff. So we all talked, and it was cool with us that he decided to take a step back. It's all good. Everybody gets busy, so it is what it is. But I want to say here on camera to welcome back to Harold. He was gone from us for a minute. He was down in good old Hotlanta for a while. And,
good old. Nah, we're gonna take the good out of that Hotlanta. Over freaking rated. And as the meme says, everyone want to stop coming down to Atlanta. They're full. Trust me, they're full.
That's a daggone shame. So, of course, we have here Mr. H.B. Gibson, Miss Kim, and Miss Tani. Say hi to the lovely folks who are watching. Hopefully, there's a lot of people watching right now. I know there's not a lot of people watching.
Hey guys. Hey. You gotta get back in the circles. People want to pop up. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We decided to do one today. I mean, we were supposed to be doing one a while ago, but that's my fault because I've been, mixed up with a whole bunch of other stuff, trying to get, I guess, used to what we're going on right now. Everyone knows about the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic that's been gripping the world, really, not even just the States. It's been gripping the world. So we've been relegated to being quarantined, so to speak, self-imposed isolation, having to stay more so inside the house than being outside the house, no gatherings or groups, and, having to wear a mask and other protective gear while we go out, specifically shopping. We've been reading the stories about people who've been going absolutely batshit crazy, going outside, sneezing on fruit for some unknown reason because they think it's cool to do, and just a whole bunch of other stuff, so it's hopefully things get cleared up at some point, but me and Tony talked about this earlier. It's probably going to be a good minute before we're out of the clear 100%. I mean,
I don't know. I have my opinions on that, but I'm gonna keep that to myself.
We'll probably do a COVID-19 discussion Geekcast some point later on down the line, depending on how things progress with this. So we'll have to see how that goes. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about what we've been doing since we've been quarantining ourselves. And I think many of you guys can agree.
Yes!
We spent majority of the time majority of our time streaming a buttload of stuff on our streaming services. A buttload of stuff, between Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Let's see, if you do Crunchyroll, you do
Asian Crush.
Asian Crush. I'm trying to think of what else.
Movies.
Huh? What happened? What was that?
I said 1, 2, 3 movies. And
That
then
too. That too. I mean, let's not fake the funk here. We know a good amount of people that have been using the free movie websites to catch up on movies and stuff. Considering
saw the hunt.
Which is interesting, considering the fact that a lot of movies that were supposed to come out when we were officially put on quarantine went straight into streaming services as well. You know, The Invisible Man.
Saw it.
What's that?
Trolls.
World Tour Onward. Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, a great deal of things that were projected to come out in the movie theaters went straight to home, release. And it's funny, before we get into the main topic, me and Tanya discussed that, that's something that we figured that was going to be happening. I figured it would happen a lot sooner than when it's happening. I mean, it's happening now. That's only because of the circumstances. But I figured, with the amount of time it takes from a movie to be released in movie theaters to being released on demand and then DVD, Blu-ray, that's about, 4 to 5 months. Maybe even less than that.
But you also have to think, too, these movie theaters are not going to recover from this. Some of these movie theaters are not going to recover from this. At all.
Yeah.
We're going to say AMC, which is the movie theater.
Exactly. It's crazy to think about, but there's a way for them to recover from this, and
absolutely.
There's definitely a way for them to cover for this. Me and Tony talked about the idea of them creating their own streaming service as well.
Exactly.
They already
Blockbuster
have
style.
I mean,
blockbuster style, man. I mean, but like like streaming, like that.
And Tiny's right, because they do actually have one. I believe it's called AMC On Demand, but they're not pushing it like they should be. Like the moment this hit, actually even before this hit, they should have been pushing it. They should have been pushing the on demand thing, because you're pretty much paying the same amount you would pay if you got this off of Amazon Prime or something like that.
Yeah.
The way they should do it is, if you're a Stubbs member, like I am, I'm an AMC Stubbs member. If you're a Stubbs member, whatever you're paying, like I pay $25 a month to catch 3 movies, I think, either throughout the month. 3 movies for free throughout the month. Just apply that same principle, put it into the video on demand. I pay $25 a month, and I get to stream whatever movie would be coming out in the movie theaters at that time. Like, if
AMC. Like, we should still be getting our free movies since we're still paying you.
Exactly. I mean, technically, I'm not paying for them because they actually stopped payments because of the closure of the movie theater. So I haven't had to pay for that for a while. But that would have been a good way for them to still make some revenue, considering what we're going through right now. It would have been a good thing for them to keep it going and just transition it from having to actually go to the movies to just simply letting us watch the movies at home, because ultimately that's really what's been happening. I mean, granted, the times that we go to the movie theaters, the theaters are still relatively packed. At least the parking lot is. The parking lots are still packed with people trying to go to the movies. So it's still an experience that people enjoy doing. And since we can't enjoy that right now, why not just parlay that into, a more in-depth on-demand service?
There you go.
It's just too many. I think at this point, it's too saturated. I mean, you have all these streaming services. Like, you have to drop one to add one. You got to pay for another one. And, it's so much money. It's like you're basically paying for cable all over again. People that drop cable, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're basically kind of screwing yourself anyway, instead of just paying by movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they could have allowed pay by movie. I mean, think about it. People take a family of 4, and they're spending well over $100 to go to movies. So even if it's not a streaming service that you subscribe to, just allowing them to stream the movies and you just purchase them instead of paying $20 4 times, pay $25 once.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I polled some people, they said they would be all for that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Same thing, with a lot of these places, they know that we can't go into certain places to buy movies or games or anything like that. We should be able to there should have been another outlet for that. Like right now, there's games that I want to play that I can't get on the PlayStation Network,
Right.
or I don't want to pay for on the PlayStation Network, so I want a physical copy. So I got to rely on Amazon.
Yeah.
So there's things that they should be doing to put some of these movies out quicker, so that way people can get access to them immediately. Like like it should be like that. But of course, I know they want to hold out because they want to get as much money as they possibly can off of selling the DVDs and things of that nature.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
Then don't even have then don't have it be a don't have it be a purchase, have it be a rental.
Yeah.
have it a
24 hours.
rental. And if they wanted to, now maybe this might be a dumb idea, maybe it might be kind of crazy, for like a little extra money, right? Okay, you get your streaming, you have your streaming service, you watch a movie, and maybe for like an extra few, if they want to make an extra few dollars, have like some kind of like a, almost like an Amazon-ish sort of a service where if they want genuine AMC popcorn, or genuine AMC pretzels, or the genuine AMC like have it like
They'll deliver it to
AMC
you.
food like that. You know what I mean?
No offense, but that's the last thing I want, and that's as a former AMC employee. I'm like, I'm good.
But at the same time, I get where Harold is going. Let me say, there are, I don't know how many AMCs are out in you guys' land, but where we live in New Jersey, there's about 5 AMCs within a half an hour of us.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they could retain those employees. They could have had some type of Amazon Now type of deal where where you stream your movie, have it even stream at the same time it was going to air in the movie theaters anyway.
True.
That way you're not overwhelming your staff, and then have staff deliver whatever snacks they were going to buy anyway to people's houses.
Exactly.
You even do it the old school, and I hate to say it this way, the old school HBO way. Remember when you had to buy pay-per-view, you had to call in at a specific time to buy it for that time slot?
Exactly.
So have it do the old pay-per-view way. It's like, you know what, so that way you don't have multiple people streaming it on, and clogging the system. Everybody is going to be streaming at 8:30 on Friday, or even midnight on Thursday night if it's a big release. Like, you pay $25, $35. I think people would pay $40, if they have a family of 5. They would pay $40 just to watch the movie if they can just watch it in their house for like 2 days.
Exactly.
Right.
Because it's still cheaper than actually going to the movies.
Yeah, I can actually have real food that I cooked at my house.
Right. Exactly.
I kind of figured that statement would come up, but for the AMC movie theater experience, micronized, but anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know, like
AMC.
Genuine AMC movie popcorn. Come on.
Yeah, nothing's gonna beat the homemade mac and cheese and
Heads of AMC could have not easily, but they could have called these production studios. Let's say, all right, Wonder Woman's coming out, right? Let's call the distribution and production companies. Let them have exclusive rights. Instead of where did Onward and Troll and everybody else stream? They some released to Hulu, some released to Amazon and things like that. Instead, don't allow those other streaming services to have rights to stream it. Get exclusive rights to stream it, and then charge $50.
I think at this point, it's a little bit too late. I think
It is, but
it's something that should have been in the works way prior to this happening, in order for this to actually work out. And I think that's where they're kind of failing at this point, because it is too late to kind of roll out that kind of algorithm and those kind of things. So I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It's kind of too late. They kind of missed that boat, and they went the whole dine-in route, and that's kind of with the whole measles thing that came out and everything else. Everything kind of just compounded on top of each other. And then COVID happened, and it was like, you know what, we can't go to the theaters anymore.
Exactly.
So now we haven't been to the theaters for almost 2.5 months now. Almost.
Wow.
In New Jersey, everything shut down on the 16th.
16th, right.
16, yeah. Okay. So yeah,
So it's been exactly a
a
month.
month. Yeah, so it's been a month that people haven't been going in. I know people haven't. Once COVID was even announced, people were going out. People were like, "I'm staying in my house."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, buying all the toilet paper, but staying in my house.
That right there, this whole toilet paper mess is like,
I haven't seen sanitizer in a month.
we haven't seen sanitizer.
I haven't either. I tried to order some from. I'm in a lot of business groups. People have been making some homemade masks. Like, for example, my mom's been in the hospital. She's coming home tomorrow. She wanted a leopard print mask, so I ordered a leopard print mask from somebody in a small business group that I'm in, and it's coming tomorrow.
That's good.
Remember during Y2K, they were like, get duct tape, and like duct tape was like flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Yeah, I probably was not paying. Yeah, I was really not paying attention to Y2K at all.
Duct tape was a big thing at that time.
I was graduating elementary school. I think at that time.
I was 16 years old, and I was really mad that my mother made me go to church because I just wanted to see what was going to happen.
I keep forgetting how old I am. Good Lord have mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, I did hit the big 5-0 on April the 8th.
Big
It's too
50.
many April birthdays here. I'm just noticing there's too many April birthdays in this room.
Yeah.
Well, you two are April, and
Me and Ken are 2 weeks apart. We're February.
Yeah.
It's like that was too funny. Though. I'm like
It's fire.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm 26 the next year.
Aries fire.
Oh my God.
My
Well,
balls.
Me being a leap year baby, I actually had a birthday this year, so I turned 36.
Yes.
What does that work out in leap years?
9.
Oh, not 8 or
9.
9.
Yes.
But
Oh man, so this is what 50 feels like. Wow, I feel great.
But
I don't feel like all that. Oh yeah, young whippersnapper. I don't feel that. Like, what the hell?
I'm already like that, and I'm not even up there yet. I'm like, just get off my lawn.
My knees are getting backed up though. I'm starting to feel the knees.
we technically don't have a lawn. I mean, landlord's been trying to get the garden thing together, so that's been pretty neat. But we live on a street that's not that noisy or crazy, so we're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But all the noise we hear is from the main strip that we live off of.
Yeah. But,
Like, I just heard a car go by, but I know it's on the main road.
Yeah, you know where I live, Kendrick. You know where I say people get off my lawn.
Yeah. It's a bit crazy, but especially right by the park. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, get off my lawn, please.
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
Netflix. Okay.
Yes, Cliff. I was like, Harold does not look 50. I was surprised at a birthday party of mine a couple of years ago. He was carded.
Yeah, I was totally caught it. No, wait a minute. No. The security guy was being a jackass and following me and my fiance. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that my fiance is like hot. Okay, and people like I have this mean mug. I never thought that I would actually have the mean mug dating somebody. What you looking at? What you looking at? What? Yo, you see what you like, man? Come get it. Step to it. I'm like, never thought that I would actually get there, but yeah, so I did get carded. But I think the security guard was just following her around, I think, because he just wouldn't leave us alone. So I'm sitting there playing Galaga, and I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Oh, man.
All right.
But, as the title of this Geekcast suggests, we're going to be talking about everything that we've been watching since the quarantine began. And today we're going to tackle all the stuff that we've seen on Netflix. And Netflix has actually been dropping a lot of content since the quarantine started. Like they probably dropped like how many movies in original?
I have no idea.
Like a buttload. Like they dropped a whole bunch, and some of it good, some of them controversial, but
yeah.
But we're gonna talk about some of the things like have we been watching now? I'll tell you right now, there wasn't a lot that I watched on Netflix. Some things I started. Some things I kind of wish I didn't start, but I had no other choice but to continue with it. And some things kind of made me feel like I was back at work. So, so like,
yeah, some of the stuff is really hard for me to get through.
So, you know, like the basic premise of this movie is simply, and excuse the language that's getting ready to come out, but basically an asshole kid who has a mother played by Taraji P. Henson, and his mother is dating a police officer played by Ed Helms. His name is I forget his daggone first name, but his last name is actually Coffee.
Officer Coffee.
The kid, I forget the kid actor's name, and one thing I'll say about the kid actor, he has potential. He looks like he could really be a good kid actor. I'm just sad that he got schlocked with bullshit like this for his first movie. And it's like, I would have been
perpetuating the stereotype.
And so basically,
I don't know any kids like this, so I don't even know what stereotype this is.
So basically, the kid is trying to get in touch with a local drug dealer to try to get his mother's new boyfriend shook. Basically, madness ensues, of course, between killing dirty cops and a whole bunch of other mess. But like the thing about this movie is, I'm okay. See, I have a certain taste with comedy. I'm more of the dry, snarky, subtle comedy. I'm a fan of comedy that's not trying to be funny. Like, that's the reason why I like Ghostbusters so much, the original Ghostbusters, because it's funny. It's funny because they're not trying to be funny. The characters in the movie are serious. Like, what they're doing is for real. It's funny to us because we actually see what's happening here.
Yeah.
Right.
Coffee and Kareem seems like a movie that was like, it was trying to be funny for the sake of being funny, and it wasn't funny at all. There might have been a few
It had
times.
its moments.
There might have been a few times where I laughed, but for the most part, and again I'm forgetting the kid's name, but he was an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. It didn't even make sense. Like, Taraji P. Henson was being Taraji P. Henson. No, let me take it back. She wasn't even being Taraji P. Henson. I've seen her do better.
She was mad passive.
Like, very passive. And the reason why I said it reminded me of being at work, because I've seen kids like that. Kids who are jerks for the sake of being a jerk. It's not like they have, like, there's a few exceptions. There's not, exactly. There's an exception, for the kids that kind of have a sucky home life and, different circumstances and stuff. But this kid is literally an asshole for the sake of being an asshole.
So you're basically saying he's a rebel without a cause.
Basically.
Exactly.
Taraji's her character, she did say one thing in the movie where she said she could see right through him. She sees that he's just the way he is because he's insecure. But it's like, there was no resolution to nothing, really. The dirty cops were dirty, like they were cartoonishly dirty. Like, it didn't make sense how dirty they were. Like, it was almost like if it was a Saturday Night Live sketch. This is one of those movies is one of those movies that goes into the category as if it were a Saturday Night Live sketch, and they just stretched it out. That's what it was to me.
No, you want to talk about something that comes straight out of TV. It's been talked about 20 million times. All of us have seen it, at least a part of it, and that's Tiger King. Everybody's like Tiger King is straight out of freaking Jerry Springer. I'm like,
it's funny because
But it really happened.
The funny thing, see, the thing about Tiger King is, before I even went into it, I saw a lot of my friends talking about it, and I'm like, is this a comedy?
Too.
Is this like a real thing? Like, what is this about? I'm thinking like it's some kind of big murder mystery type thing. Like,
I had no idea it was a documentary.
Dude.
I had no idea this was real.
Tiger King has everything. Tiger King has everything. You have a gay
Redneck.
zookeeper who's in a 3-way relationship, who sets up a murder for hire, and he likes to play with tigers.
Well, here's the thing. You have to include the point. You have to include the whole setup. You have he murdered for hire on a woman who supposedly murdered her husband and led him to tigers.
Look.
Yes.
I'm gonna go on record right now and say
Carol
this.
has her own problems.
I'm gonna go on record right now and say this. Carol did it. Carol fucking did it. She did it. I don't care. She did it. Do you know like
Carol did it.
some of the stuff she was saying in that, like, if you really want to attract a tiger or a big cat, put some, what she said, sardine oil. I'm like, how do you know that? Like, why do you know
Why do
that?
you think about this?
Like, have you tested this before? Like, what? Like,
I'm like, but then again, but here's a proven point. Here's proven point. Old girl almost lost her arm. So how she almost lost her arm if the tigers don't want her? The tigers won't eat people.
like, she lost her
I ain't gonna
whole
repeat that.
she lost her whole arm, and within a week.
Remember, she identifies as he.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sir, not ma'am.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I totally forgot.
Sorry.
I totally forgot about that.
He
He lost a whole arm. He lost a whole arm, and within a week, she was right back at work. He was right back at work.
That's the type of control that he had over his workers. It was a group of misfits that found a common ground of being misfits, and all of them have the love of taking care of animals. And I believe one person on the show also mentioned the fact that like when you're taking care of these animals, when you're amongst tigers, there's like a certain degree of power. Like, wow, I'm around these vicious beasts and they're loving on me and I'm with them and everything. And, you know, they have this undying love or dedication to Joe. And Joe is almost like a cult leader of sorts.
No, the cult leader was Doc.
Doc Antle. That whole my man, Mr. Colt Harem.
There's a lot of polygamy in this thing. There's a lot of
he had a whole harem.
Partners.
Though he had a whole harem though, and he really tried to fake the funk. Like he didn't have a whole harem. Like, come on, dog, you had the ponytail and everything. Don't play like that, dog.
And did you see Joe's nanny? No, not Joe. Jeff. Jeff's nanny.
Look, that dude right there. Like, listen, like all of these people, in retrospect, were pretty bad people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, everybody was a POS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's like, so basically at this point, you know, I looked at it, and it's like one thing for me. I know a lot of people didn't do this, but I sat down and I watched that show in one sitting because it was like a train wreck. I could not stop watching. It was just.
Did we watch it in one sitting?
No, we broke it up. We watched it one night, and then we felt compelled to finish it the next day. Like it was like
I saw the whole thing once. And I sat and saw it again with Rouge, and Rouge was like, No, play the next one. I'm like, really? You want to binge watch the whole thing? Yo, we binge watched the whole thing in one night.
Because you can't stop watching it. It's like Jerry Springer on steroids. It's like you can't, like, no matter how much you want to stop watching it, you're like, next episode.
Now, I did read somewhere that it is possible that there will be a second season, but it will focus on Carol.
There is something on, there's a follow-up to Tiger King on Netflix right now. I was tempted to watch it, but...
Oh, I saw it.
I got
My man is the realest. The one with the long hair, he's the realest. He's like straight up real. You should watch it, hear him talk.
We'll probably watch
I'm going to read you guys something. And this is, to me, this sounded way more interesting than what they actually aired. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is on I'm not going to mention his Twitter handle, but this guy says, to anyone watching binging Tiger King on Netflix, I spent 4 years working on a podcast and a long magazine story about Joe and Carol. I spent a week living at the zoo, and I spoke to almost everybody that you see that you're watching in the documentary, and I attended the trial. So, some of the things he cleared up. Joe did not write or sing any of those country songs.
That's right.
He Milli Vanilli.
Yes. Yeah, I found that out.
Milli Vanilli, that whole thing.
Yeah, I found that out.
Think about it. You
Basically
hear,
singing them.
think about it. You hear his voice, his regular speaking voice, and then his country singer voice. Like, come on, dog. Don't
You
do that.
see Clay Aiken, right? You know, things can happen.
Yeah, there are some savants in that particular sense. They come out and start saying Ave Maria. You sit there like, okay, I don't know where that came from. But it's like they're there, but you know, we found that out. Like that was that in particular was something else.
Exactly.
But let me say something before you go on to that though. At what point did you really start bopping to the music? I got maybe halfway through the show and I'm like,
honestly, I can't remember one song from that series. I can't remember one. Like, all I know is about tigers and some other shit. Like, I really can't. I can't remember.
Yo, Here Kitty Kitty. Here Kitty Kitty. The clip even mentioned it. Here Kitty Kitty. That was a hilarious diss song, and it basically was a hypothesis as to how Carol killed her husband, feeding pieces to the tiger, with a dress on and a little crown of flowers and everything.
He had a whole vendetta against Carol Baskin, but at the same time, I'm watching when we got to the episode about Carol Baskin, and I'm sitting here like, she's been touted as this person who's like trying to stop Joe Exotic from doing what he's doing. I'm like, you're doing the same shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you serious? Like, you're doing.
Folks, I talk about this all the time. That's the importance of branding. You could do the exact same thing, but one could be branded as a good thing, and the other one's branded as bad.
Literally doing the same thing.
And here's the thing: is that her husband sold Joe his first tigers.
All right. I'm not going to read all of these. Only the ones that are kind of interesting.
Right.
Before Joe married John or Travis, he married another young straight guy named J.C. Hartpence. Hartpence later served time in prison for molesting a young girl and is now serving a life sentence for first-degree murder. That's another thing. What's up with these straight guys who all of a sudden want to marry Joe?
Drugs. That's straight up the answer.
Who said that?
Drugs.
Somebody said it was like meth and like,
yeah,
because
they
wasn't getting no money.
I'm like, that's pretty much what it is. Like it's like you hear that saying that some people will do whatever it takes to feed their addiction.
Yeah.
In that particular case, he was feeding him the drugs, and he basically was like, okay, but I'm like, you got to a point where he just became miserable.
Yeah.
Like, he just became miserable because he wasn't gay. And that was the bottom line. He was never gay.
And it's like, do you really like meth that much?
Some people do.
I'm like, hey, man, I guess it is what it is. But like, Tiger King will go down in history as one of the most insane documentaries.
Yeah.
And
it succeeded in what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
And it got an audience that a lot of people did not expect.
And
there was no money, Matthew.
Exactly.
There really was no money. There was no money there.
And for everyone who was like bashing people for watching and like, dude, what the hell else you gonna watch? Okay? Like,
and you know, the bad part is like, I saw people watching and they were like, that's a Tiger King. I'm like, fine, let me sit down, let me just watch it. Let me just watch the first episode. And I'm like, next thing you know, I'm on the third. And I'm like,
yeah. That was math. That was math. Like, what the heck, man? Like
yeah,
we finished it. I'm like, how the hell did
I
end up watching this?
Yeah, like you finish watching it, you're like, especially like the random shots, like the guy in the bathtub doing his interview.
This was like the definition. This was literally the definition of no fucks given in this documentary. It's like they just like, you know what, we just going Like, people gonna sit and watch this and talk about it anyway, so we might as well just do it all. Like,
he ran for office and everything, and then that guy Jeff just came in and just scooped his business right from up under him, man.
First of all, whoever his campaign manager was, I forgot his name already.
Mm.
But
it's here. Wait a minute. Let me scroll up.
His campaign manager was was like, I think, the most sane person in the entire show.
Yeah.
Josh Giles.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm like, he made that campaign work.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I will say though is that I do believe, I mean, as messed up as a person Joe Exotic is, I do believe that he was set up for a couple of things. I think he was definitely set up to have his, zoo taken away. Like, the murder for hire thing, really $3,000. Like, what's that going to cover? Like murder for hire for $3,000?
But you gotta understand too. He's never gonna financially recover from this.
Oh no. I mean, he's already mentioned that he's once he gets out, whenever that's going to be, he's just going to start over. He's just going to completely start over.
But he didn't have money then, so it was
That's
like,
true also.
you were talking about old Walmart pizza. Come on now, old.
and expired meat.
Yes, I'm like, come on now. Like,
it was part of his ingredients for his special pizza, by the way.
Yes, that's why I said old Walmart pizza. That's why I call it old Walmart pizza. I'm like,
hey, Matthew.
Yes, I said, yeah, Matt's been in the chat talking.
What? My man Matt. What is going on?
Yeah, Matt's been there. Yeah.
Matt.
Sorry, I'm trying to finish up the story. So then I was going back to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what. Oh yeah, he said he's waiting for Tiger King season 2.
Let's see. Two odd facts.
Yeah, Joe put on Carol. It was wrong. Joe hit on Carol, but to his defense, what he's supposed to do if you have issues with a killer. Cliff, you're a mess.
Good one, Cliff. Good one.
Let's see. 2 odd facts about Rick Kirkham. Before meeting Joe, he made a film about his addiction to crack cocaine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the epitome of privilege right there, but that's another podcast.
Okay.
After the zoo fire, Rick moved to Dallas. Then his house mysteriously burned down, almost killing him. He fled to Norway, where he now lives. So, dude, he was filming a documentary for it burns down. Then his own house burns down, and then he has to live out of the country.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I honestly think Joe might have set his own thing on fire just to blame Carol.
Probably.
Yeah.
I honestly think that. I truly think that he set it on fire. He's like, yeah, there's only alligators in there, so what? Yeah.
After Don Lewis vanished, but before Carol married Howard, she dated a guy named Jay Bakal. In 2002, Jay filed a restraining order against Carol, which includes some bizarre and suspicious-sounding details regarding his disappearance. One day, it says, one day she said to me, I asked her what happens if your husband shows up now. Her response was, dead bodies can't talk.
They can't.
I'm trying to tell y'all she did that.
Restraining order.
I'm trying to tell y'all she did that.
On herself.
She been telling her herself the whole documentary, man. I'm trying to tell y'all something. She did this shit. She did it. I believe she did it. I don't care what nobody say she did it,
She just does not exactly exude a person that's sane.
No, it doesn't.
When you're talking about this, I'm not gonna discriminate. There are cat people out there that are seriously like that. So yeah, I'm not gonna discriminate on that. So I can't say anything. They're legitimately cat people, and I'm actually. What was her saying? What was her saying? Hello, you crazy cool cats. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna start saying that every time I see people now, and I don't want to talk to them.
Man, listen. Just be going around. Do you like sardine oil?
Do you like sardine?
Would you like to try some? Some some bullshit like that. I don't know.
Okay, so we're gonna move along from Tiger King, unless we're gonna keep talking about Tiger King. I can talk about Tiger King.
Those are the only ones that were kind of interesting.
Like I said,
I can tell you some ones that I was really disappointed in, and I one that I watched. Actually, I watched two, and AJ and the Queen. I watched that. That's the RuPaul movie. I mean, the RuPaul show, and October Faction. The two of those. AJ and the Queen is basically, it's about a kid that stows away in, I forget what RuPaul's name is in the show, but he stows away in RuPaul's RV, or she rather, and she's trying to get away to get to her grandfather in Texas because her mother's a drug addict. So she stows away with RuPaul and they build this whole relationship. I watched the entire show in one sitting and then got to the end and I was so disappointed. I'm like, it's basically like this really big drama, and I'm a big RuPaul fan, so I love RuPaul. I love RuPaul and everything he does and everything, but I think it was just a whole drag show for RuPaul. It was just a whole thing for his drag scene, so he can do drag.
Yeah.
It was the same drag over and over and over again, and it was the same songs over and over and over again, and it was the same kind of theme. Angry kid, clueless drag. And October Faction, that was supposed to be, it started out really good. It's a family of monster killers.
Oh, okay.
Wow. That sounds cool. You just sold me on that one. I didn't even see that. I'm going to check that out just because you said that.
Yeah, I was disappointed though. I mean, I got to a certain point where I'm hoping they don't do a season 2.
Whoa.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. There's a family of monster hunters. The kids don't necessarily know about it. The mother and father are like ridiculous, like straight up gangster shooting monsters in the middle of the in the back of a supermarket type of killing straight up. They are gangster, but the problem I had with it is like it got to a certain point and you can tell they wanted to end it right away.
Oh, okay. How many episodes was it?
I would have to check. It wasn't that many, I think. Me and my fast typing here.
Yeah.
Well, I got roped into watching something with my mother, and it's like I was just like, kill me now through the whole movie. This movie was called Fall Girls. And yeah. And the only people I know in it were Amara La Negra, Jay Boog from E2K, and Jolie Fisher. This was basically Weekend at Bernie's with black people and females.
Oh God,
that's pretty much what it was.
God no. And just to answer your question, October Faction is only 10 episodes only.
Okay.
Like about 40-minute episodes. Yeah.
You said October Faction.
Yeah.
October Faction got my attention. That one that Katanni just mentioned.
Yeah.
But you know what I did? What I did watch? I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed a lot of it, and that was the Madam C.J. Walker show that they put on there.
I've been hearing mixed stuff about that.
I actually enjoyed it.
Too. Yes.
But that's because I don't know a lot of her backstory. So for me, it's I'm taking everything face value. So I know a lot of people who do have knowledge of the backstory. They're like, yeah, this didn't happen this way, or for me, it was kind of fitting for what it was for a while. Like when we were growing up, it was light skin versus dark skin.
Yeah.
A lot of that was happening. So I felt that more watching it than anything else. But a lot of things came out that definitely were true in there, and I'm like, it was really nice to watch. It was a breath of fresh air as far as like You know, I think it was the first thing I watched on quarantine.
What do they call? What do they call that? They call it what? Like docu fiction.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, some of it's true, some of it's embellished. I know that. What was it? Hidden Figures was kind of similar because even Katherine Johnson herself said a lot of the things that you see in the movie didn't actually happen to her, things like that.
Yeah,
she actually said
the bathroom.
Yeah, she actually said she didn't feel. She said she felt more sexism than racism while she was working there,
which is about right. The thing I've been watching Wu Assassins. I haven't finished it yet. That I actually enjoy a lot.
I haven't finished that. I binged both seasons of Altered Carbon finally.
Oh God, I haven't gotten into, I got into a couple of episodes of that. This is before quarantine. This is not even quarantine. This is before quarantine. I got to a couple of episodes. I just can't.
It was the same.
That's how we felt a few years ago when we first watched it. And then we watched it again, and we got into it. I was like, why didn't we like this before?
I realized
that was a show that I thought that, I was like, Harold, come on. This is cyberpunk. This is right up your alley. But I couldn't, it just didn't.
It's not drawing me. Something about it is not drawing me in. It's just it's there. I can see it, I can touch it, I can smell it.
Yeah.
But
so we all can agree that we all had the same initial start to this. Because when we went to, because once season 2 released and we saw that it was Anthony Mackie, I was like, you know what, we gotta get through the first season before we start season 2. So when we went to start watching it, I realized, damn, I only got 10 minutes into episode 1 of season 1, and I couldn't hang.
Right.
So
I got through the first episode. I mean, I got maybe to the second episode, and I had to stop. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, I think I watched the first episode, and I was like, I can take it or leave it.
At the time, I didn't know why I couldn't get into it, and everybody was telling me you need to watch the show. You should be watching the show. I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I was like,
But that's how I am with Lock and Key. Everybody's like, oh, you have to watch Lock and Key. The first couple episodes of Lock and Key, for me, I'm like, for Lock and Key, I'm like, I guess my whole thing is I don't like teenage angst. I'm like, something about teenage angst bothers the life out of me right now, and I'm just like, just stop it, just make it stop, make it go away. It's driving me nuts, and I got to the point where they figured out some of the stuff, and I know Harold, I know you watched it.
I so loved Lock and Key because I didn't even know it was based on a comic book because I posted on Facebook that this kind of plays out like one of those teenage suspense fantasy books, like a Harry Potter or something like that.
Like a fan fiction.
But I thought it was beautiful. Me and Rouge loved it. Even the author, and the author's got a little cameo at the end, I think.
But I'll tell you this, and Harold, you probably know where I'm at right now, and where I stopped watching it.
All right.
The Girl on the Table.
Okay.
That's where I stopped watching it. I got annoyed with it immediately in that moment. I was done. I could not watch the show anymore after that. I'm like, yeah, this is stupid. I can't do this.
We're not going to do any spoilers. If you have not seen Lock and Key and you want to see what Kim is talking about, Girl on the Table, watch it. I'm telling you, it's quite interesting.
I'll be honest. I've been jumping from different things on Netflix. I haven't really been sitting and watching a whole lot of stuff. I mean, aside from Tiger King, Altered Carbon was the only other thing that I really watched. I just binged through during this quarantine. I will say that I feel like I enjoy season 1 more than I enjoy season 2.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. That I like the gumshoe aspect of season 1. The crime mystery and all this other stuff, and all the twists and turns that Takeshi Kovacs had to deal with. And I gotta admit, Joel Kinnaman did a pretty good job with season 1. Season 2, I enjoyed the action of it, but as far as the storyline is concerned, it could have used a little bit of work. It's
But that's how they do a lot. I feel as though a lot of the stuff when it comes to like Netflix, I feel like their second seasons are always kind of rushed because they want to get it to an end. If it's not popular, like if it's not like if it's not their main product, they want to end it as quickly because it's not pushing out the numbers that they want. And I feel as though their second seasons are always going to be the worst seasons that you can have. Like for instance, I watched I don't know why I did this to myself, but I watched Sabrina.
Okay.
And I'm gritting my teeth to get to this because I'm at the point where I have like three episodes left and I want to strangle her. I'm like, it's I feel as though the second season feels a lot more forced than the first season. The first season, I was like, okay, I can kind of deal with this. I'm like, I can get through it because, again, teenage angst, don't like it. But I can get through it, but it's like the more I'm watching it, the more I feel like the second season is like completely and utterly forced. They just wanted to get it over with, and they just wanted to get it to a conclusion. And it's kind of silly to me, and
I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I even looked up, hey, do they make replicas of those keys? I just want to collect them.
They probably do. Like, there's probably somebody on Etsy right now making, keys for
Etsy, AliExpress, Wish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, you order from Wish, you won't see it for a year. So
that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Did anybody catch The Witcher? I could not get.
I watched every single.
I didn't like it.
I binged The Witcher during the holiday season, during Christmas break.
Yes,
I binged it.
Exactly.
I didn't think I was gonna like it. I love The Witcher. I love that show.
Me and Harold just sitting here like.
Well, Jennifer, the character Jennifer. I was intrigued, because she was a witch that was kind of deformed, and she got the power to make herself look better and everything, and she got her little revenge and everything. But then I just got lost. I don't know.
Because what happens is that, and I love what they did. I love how they did this because it makes it so much like the game in a sense. Because in the game you're kind of bouncing around from timeline to timeline to timeline,
right?
And I love it because you don't realize what timeline you're in until you're at the end of the movie, until the end of the show. And you're like, oh, now I know where I'm at. But it's like, where you are, I love it because you're just bouncing from this timeline.
I don't think I realized about the time difference. I forgot what episode it was where I realized, like, oh, they're shifting through different timelines. That's what's happening. It might have been like 3 or something like that. It might have been episode 3, but like, This might be one of Henry Cavill's best jobs.
I loved it. I enjoyed him every minute of The Witcher.
First and second episode, I loved it. I mean, when he fought the spider creature, I was like, yeah. And when he fought those gangs of that were sent to like kill him, I was like, yeah, F him up. But then all of a sudden, it's just, you know what? I'm just going to have to just assign myself to just say, you know what, Harold, just watch the rest.
I would say...
Because there was something it was one of those things where it's like, Harold, you want to like it. You want to go for it. Just go for it.
Here's the thing I don't understand. It's like Game of Thrones people should be like all over this. Like, like they should be all over it. And I know a lot of Game of Thrones people, like, they just don't like it. But I have to say one thing, and I'm like, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but I know Game of Thrones had one thing over this one. I'm like, that's consistency. They had, like, literally, they didn't see anything wrong with The Witcher. Everything was on point.
Yeah.
Everything was on point. There was not a mistake. There was not, well, at least that we could notice at least. I enjoyed that so much. And I'm like, I still sing Toss the Coin to Your Witcher. I don't care what anybody has to say. I'm still singing that.
I was just going to say the Bard from The Witcher is the 2020 hero. He's the hero of 2020. Like, everyone needs the Bard in their life. Toss a Coin to Your Witcher is the greatest song ever made. It really is.
I'm still singing that song.
But I really didn't think I was going to get into The Witcher because I've never played the games and I've never read any of the books. But
ditto.
But like,
oh really?
Never. I know of the games. I didn't know it was based off a book until the series came out. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh snap! I didn't know this was based off a book. But after that first episode, I was in. I was like locked in, and I just binged the whole series. I was like, I need a season 2 like right now because this junk
I'm like,
is fantastic.
and he's not bad to look at either. So I mean, I can stare at him all day. So.
Well, I mean, moving right along, let's talk about Love, Death, and Robots.
You know, I haven't started that yet.
I didn't watch that. I watched that when that came out. I didn't watch it during the actual pandemic, so I know about it. I watched it, and I love series like I like things like that where they're doing different things inside of that. And I like the art of it. And
it is still sitting on my watch list. I haven't watched it yet. I think I started, but just like Altered Carbon, I just kind of like fell off. So I gotta work my way to watching it again.
You really should be able to, honestly. Yeah. It's one of those things in maybe about 2.5 hours you should be able to watch everything.
Oh, okay.
Like
Once upon a time, there was a movie called Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal was released back in the 80s, and it was based on the comic book works of a comic of like it was like an adult comic book that came out quarterly, and there were these adult comic style stories. There was a movie that came out like in the 80s. And it was like an anthology. It was like different stories, but there was something that connected all the stories. This one didn't really connect.
It wasn't supposed to.
There were. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it wasn't supposed to. It was just connecting to the actual theme. So basically, everything's supposed to play into the theme more so than the actual connecting of all the actual shows together.
Exactly. If you love sci-fi, and if you want short stories, if you like like an anthology sort of a style, I have zero complaints about any of the episodes. They were really fascinating to look at, and there was even one that was live action, and there was one that looked like live action, but yet it was kind of like painted over or layered or something like that to make it look like it was animation. It was amazing. Love, Death, and Robots. Please do. If you love animation, if you love science fiction,
it's a very good art piece.
Another level, please check out Love, Death, and Robots. I cannot recommend it any higher.
Yeah, it's a very good art piece. It's like, for me, it was more like art. So watching it was more not necessarily for the context of it or anything like that. I watched it more as art. When I started watching it, it was more like, okay, let me just get this in my mind that this is supposed to be like a performance art more so than anything else. So I mean, definitely, it's a very short watch. So you can literally get it done within an hour. None of the skits are very long because they're animated. So
there was even a shout out. I would dare I say there was even like a shout out to Heavy Metal, because there was one episode where there was a guy that was the owner of a junkyard, and there was a guy that came over to him that was trying to take his property, and there was a monster in the junkyard that hunted the guy down, and the fella that owned the junkyard, his face resembled that of a character in the old Heavy Metal film called Hand Over Fist.
Okay.
It was an episode in the part of Heavy Metal was called Captain Stern, and the guy was picked to be like a witness to try to get Captain Stern from being arrested when he was on trial. But the character in that particular episode of Love, Death, and Robots looks just like Hand Over Fist.
Interesting.
This is something I watched, but it wasn't during the pandemic. It might have been around Halloween. It was 2-sentence horror stories.
Yeah, I saw that too. That first came out. I watched. See, y'all should know better. If this has anything to do with horror, I've already watched it.
I enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought it was very interesting. Some of the stories,
I hated it.
Some stories were a little, like, I can tell you right now, the first episode, Gentleman, had me tripping out. Because, like, I'm thinking, like, we're following this guy, but it's really the girl who's crazy. So I'm like, what?
I legitimately, and like I said, you already know, if it's horror, I've watched it. You know that. I do. Horror is life. And so if it's a horror show, I've watched it. So that particularly, I did not necessarily like. I think I watched it, and I felt as though I was watching it. And I hate PG-13 horror stories or anything like that. I was not impressed. I'm like, they could have done so much better. They could have done so much, so much more with it. And I think it fell short.
If it gets to season 2, I hope they get a little bit more creative. I really
there's a lot of things I wish they still had out, that they still were working on, like they first came out. But I'm trying to think. Another movie I watched, which I think I loved it, was The Platform.
I have to watch that. My sister said it was awesome.
Very good. Very good. Very, very, very. I think it was like so. I don't want to say politically charged, but it kind of explains what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. And I'm sitting there watching. I remember it was just a suggestion after I forgot what I watched. It was a suggestion after I watched it, and I'm like, okay, let me just watch it just because. And don't get me wrong, it's I believe it's dubbed.
Yeah.
I believe it's dubbed. It's not subbed, but it's not an English movie. But definitely, if you get a chance to watch that, it's all about a tray of food. That's literally bottom line. It's about the tray of food and a representation of that. If you sit down there and watch it,
wow,
it'll click immediately. It'll automatically click. It's like it just shows what that difference can make.
I gotta give that a watch. I gotta watch that.
I don't want to give it away, but it's like I don't want to give it away because if I even explain like what the tray of food has to like, if, even anything more than that, I'm going to give it away. I'm intrigued. It is such a. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just so artistic in the way it was done. And so I would totally like watch it like 3 more times to see what I missed because I feel like I missed something.
Cool.
I gotta give that a look. At some point, I gotta jump back into Ozark.
Yeah, I gotta start that, but I want to start. What was that movie that I kept asking you? The show I kept asking you guys about. Oh my God, why can't I think of it right now?
It's not Black Mirror, is it?
No, I'm gonna go look at my messages now, just because I'm special like that.
Like I got the most of season 1 for Ozark.
Oh, The Kingdom. I have to start.
Yes,
I
was on episode 2. It's basically like 28 days in feudal Korea.
I haven't started that yet, so I got to start that too. I haven't started The Kingdom yet, so I gotta start that.
Gosh. If you want a different spin to the whole zombie thing, Kingdom is for you. Kingdom is for you.
I have to start. I'm like, I keep saying I'm going to, and then I start something else. They keep putting out something else. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this first, and then I'm gonna get to that. And then I'm like, I want to finish watching this series first, and I'm like, but because it's two seasons of it, so I'm like, now I want to like invest that time, and I'm like, maybe I'll just spend the whole weekend and just like shut myself in for the entire weekend, and not make any phone calls and just watch that entire show.
I literally had to change the language from Korean to English because sometimes I like watching the foreign films in their native language and having their subtitles. But this was so intriguing. I was like, no, I got to hear this in English. I really got to hear what's going on here. So
no, I think you know what it is. The reason why I don't do that is because I believe a lot of things get lost in translation when they do dubs.
That's true.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I'd rather have subtitles because subtitles are going to always be verbatim. So I'd rather them give me the subtitles. I I mean, I've been watching anime too long that I can't
Yeah.
freaking not read subtitles
Yeah.
fast enough.
Exactly. You have to watch the Street Fighter movie in its original form because if you watch the Japanese version, he actually says Hadouken.
Wait.
The other one he just goes,
Wait. Which
Wow.
Street Fighter movie we talking about? The animated movie or the live action one?
The original anime movie when the first fight was between Ryu and Sagat.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah, I'm talking about the original film, the original 2-hour film, the original 2-hour anime. Original.
I got that on my shelf, so I can. Yeah. So.
That's funny though.
You just reminded me
Suddenly
because
shower scene.
you just reminded me because even though this wasn't on Netflix, I finally watched Parasite, the movie that won all those.
I don't want to hear anything. Don't tell me nothing.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil nothing. But let me tell you something. That movie.
Exactly.
That
I didn't want
movie.
to bring it up because I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to watch it.
I just want to say this.
Copy of it.
I just want to say this. That movie deserved all the Oscars. That movie was really good. Like I wasn't gonna.
Wait for Train to Busan, the part 2 of that.
Oh, Peninsula. What?
Yes.
I'm waiting for Peninsula. I'm waiting for that.
I did a trailer reaction for that. It looks great. And if you want to see the original Train of Busan, ladies and gentlemen, it is available on Netflix. It is. You've heard of Snakes on a Plane? This is Zombies on a Train.
Train to Busan is what is zombie?
That put the every other movie did not put the fear of them in me. I'm like, I can handle this. I can take care of this. That legitimately put the fear of zombies in me because I'm like, imagine I'm on an enclosed train and I can't get off this bad boy.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like you got and it's not like you have guns or anything to stop them in their tracks. You gotta run. That's it.
I'm legit on this train stuck with a bunch of zombies, on a bullet train at that. Come on now, bro.
Yeah.
You don't even have a tray, a food tray to hit them with. I mean, literally.
I'm like, that put the fear in me. I don't know what I would do. I think I would have died in that moment. I'm a little bit too big to be climbing on some racks on the top of the thing. I'm a little bit. I got a little bit too much junk. I'm gonna get stuck.
The ending, the ending was so sad. That's the first time I felt legit bad in a zombie movie.
I cried at the end of that movie. Every time I see that ending, I cry. I'm like, it doesn't matter how many times I watch that movie, I cried at that ending because it was just too much.
I can't wait to see what Peninsula brings, man. That's gonna be that's gonna be so dope. I can't wait for it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I watched during the pandemic. I started watching this one series. I think it's 100 questions or some mess like that. It's with
the 100 people.
Yeah, that thing. I started watching.
That was funny.
I watched a couple episodes of that. And I was like, this is actually pretty interesting.
It is hilarious. I sat down and watched that show beginning to end. I was dying because some of the people's personalities are just way too much, and they know how to pick them out too.
Yeah,
they pick out the best people for that scene, and I was watching that with. And it's so interesting. I would actually, if they do that again, I probably would audition for it.
It is an interesting premise, and basically for you guys who don't know what we're talking about, I really forget the whole name of the daggone show, but basically,
I'll tell you right now. Hold on. You know me.
Yeah, but the premise centers around 3 scientists who are conducting
100 humans.
100 humans. That's it. So it centers around 3 scientists that are conducting a series of different experiments with different age groups. You got 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, and up. And they all have to do certain things to see which age group does it the best. I think the first episode might have been.
Well, it's not even just age groups. Sometimes it's age groups, sometimes it's sexes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all depending. They pull up all these different scenarios depending on the groups that you're in. So it doesn't even matter about age at a certain point. They get personal with a lot of them towards the end.
I'll probably watch the whole entire thing at some point. Like I said, I only watched a couple of episodes, but I'll probably watch the whole entire thing at some point.
You have to watch it. It gets to the point. I think I was laughing so hard towards the end of it, because you feel as though you get to know a lot of the characters
Mm-hmm.
after a lot of people that are in there, after a certain point, because they already like pointed them out,
Mm-hmm.
and you just start dying because it's like they just start making jokes and they start cracking things, and it's like, and you don't realize that you feel as like, because you can relate to a lot of it.
Like the ones that I did watch, the one where they were putting IKEA furniture together, I thought that was hilarious.
First of all, I would fail that automatically because I can't describe anything, and I would be frustrated if you described like the guy in our age range.
It was the 30-year-olds, right?
Yeah, the guy
That
in our
dude.
age range.
I'm like, get this dude off the communicator because he don't know what the hell he talking about.
And then
I'm
he
like,
thought that he was doing something when he got it done. He's like, yeah, we did it. And they're like, yeah, no, we did it.
Like,
without you.
Because the girls sitting with the group was just like, okay, we ain't gonna listen to him no more because he just fucking us all up. Then the other one where they had to test their memory out, I thought that was interesting. I probably would have failed that also because they just kept adding on different items and stuff. It was just like, damn.
No, I would have walked away the first time. Like, I don't have memory. I'm like, I don't have one. So I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna sit in this corner with the, I'm gonna be the first person there because I'm gonna forget what you had told me in the first place, like 20 seconds before I walk away from you. I'm good.
Like that's an interesting series though, very interesting.
Oh, you know what I did watch, and I'm gonna have to find it. I think it's called like The Isle or something like that.
What's that?
I'm gonna have to find it. What the name of the actual show is? The Island. I watched that.
I heard about that. I did hear about that. I haven't watched that yet.
It was good to a certain point. And I'm hoping they make a season 2 because it's really basically what the premise is that these group of people wake up on an island.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to find out that the one thing they have in common is that they're all prisoners. And they're all on this island for different things. So now they have to survive on this island in order to get off. So they have to redeem themselves. But they have to figure out what their connection is, why they're on the island, what they have to do to redeem themselves. It's a really interesting concept. Could have been done better. Right. Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping they come with and what they're going to do with that because it's going to be really interesting to watch. But yeah, it's a very short one. I think it's like maybe like 9 episodes or something like that. It's not long. So again, another one I watched in one sitting. I mean, I've been doing a lot of TV. I've been doing a lot of Netflixing. Between Netflix and YouTube, that's my life right now. I've
been jumping between Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Amazon Prime. So I've been. I actually.
Did you actually? And it's another one I thought about interview, like probably going on. It's called The Circle.
The Circle. What's that about?
And The Circle, yeah. It's basically it's a social experiment.
Oh, okay.
And what they are is like they basically have these people have these social profiles. And
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And they get put in apartments, and they get voted at the end of like a day, like the end of the week or something like that. One person gets voted off at the end of the week as like the most unpopular or whatever it happens to be. And it's all about the social experiment. And what happens is that you're putting up a profile. So you put like basically on Facebook. So you put out information about yourself, a picture, all this other stuff. And then come to find out, you can be whoever you want to be because you don't see the other people. The only way you communicate is through the actual television.
Wow.
I saw the trailer for that. You just reminded me. I did see the trailer for that. I'll probably start that at some point too.
I'm like, I really
check that out.
I'm like, the only reason I watched it straight through, and I'm like, because I can totally see that what happened because of catfishing and everything else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm not going to say who, but there are people that aren't themselves.
Right.
That are on that show pretending to be other people.
Right.
And
you know what? I'm gonna put that in the chat, The Circle, just so I can so I have that. There we go. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it's like it's a weird social experiment, and they did it for Brazil, which I want to kind of watch it for that, just to see how that works for them. And another country they did it for. But honestly, it kind of puts in perspective like a lot of the stuff that we do on a regular basis, how we judge people based upon their profiles alone and what they tell us, and if we can actually see through that. And from the outside looking in, you're like, yeah, but I'm like, I can totally see if I was in that situation, I'd probably be screwed. So I believe everybody. I wouldn't know who to believe. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's a couple of things. I'm trying to think anything else that I watched on here lately. I have to watch the second season of Lost in Space. I've been kind of holding off on it.
There's a lot of things I got to catch on Netflix. A lot of things that just popped up. I know everyone's talking about Code 8. I know about Code 8.
Yeah.
What's Code 8?
I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people will look at it and think that, the premise of it, the first thing they're going to think is X-Men. It is not. It is basically a world where people actually have powers, and they are segregated, and they are ostracized, and they are put in a certain class. And if they use their powers, to an extent of being noticed, they send these robots called Guardians, not to be confused with Sentinels. Okay, all right. It's a sci-fi futuristic action drama. Dare I say it, it's a crime drama, because these people with these powers, they do a lot of gangster stuff, and my man Sung Kang, Justice for Han, it plays an officer who's part of that division that keeps the people with powers at bay. They kind of monitor them, and if they start acting out and start using their powers and everything in public, he's the guy that sends the cops into to arrest them and apprehend them or whatever. But and I'm gonna tell you something. Stephen Amell and his brother Robbie Amell,
cousin,
yeah. Stephen Amell, strangely, you don't even think Green Arrow with him being amongst other people with powers, because his character is, he does well. He does well other than Green Arrow. It's a good show. So if you think about it, if you're thinking about seeing, what I'm thinking is, if anybody remembers a video game called Infamous, where you play a character with electrical powers.
Yep.
All right, Robbie Amell plays a character with electrical powers, and in the game you make these moralistic decisions. It's almost as if, dare I say it, that somebody wanted to do a movie based on Infamous but couldn't get the rights.
Got it.
That's what it is. It's good. It is quite enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna add, I'm gonna do like you do. I'm right now I'm on Netflix, and I'm just adding. Anytime you guys mention something that I haven't seen yet, I'm kind of just adding it to my list. So again, I'm just gonna go through. I mean, because I'm I didn't even know about it. I don't have people on my list actually talking about that show, or talking about it. So I didn't even know to watch it, if that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna definitely throw that up there, and hopefully, have time to watch that. I mean, some of you probably have watched this beforehand, but have you guys seen Umbrella Academy?
I actually
couldn't get into that one.
I didn't finish it. I gotta finish it.
That was fun.
I forgot.
I couldn't finish it either. I got to what's her name? Ellen Page, right?
Yeah.
That's her name. Yeah, Ellen Page. When they revealed her character.
I think that's where I'm at too.
And when they revealed her character and they revealed all that stuff, I kind of couldn't watch it after that point. I was just like, okay, I'm done.
I think that's exactly where I am, as far as the Umbrella Academy. But I want to finish it. I definitely want to finish it up, before season 2 drops, because I was into it.
Yeah, I was up until that point. For some reason, up until there, and maybe because I can't see Ellen Page as that character, or maybe that's why it's for some reason Ellen Page in that type of position is probably triggering my mindset, and I'm like, I just can't do it.
Right.
But it's like I just can't keep watching it. I'm like, okay, I'm done. It's like this is too much for me. I'm over it.
I enjoyed Umbrella Academy. I enjoyed it.
I'm like, yeah, there's a couple of things. Like, I'm the same person that did not ever watch what's that show that everybody was watching on Netflix, with the kids and the girl that loved Eggos. What's that show?
Oh, Stranger You didn't watch
Stranger
Things?
I fell off the third season.
It was
never-ending
story.
I know.
And I was gonna say that I think out of all 3 seasons of Stranger Things, I think I like. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed season 3 of Stranger Things. I thought Stranger Things season 3 was fun, but for some reason I like season 2 a lot.
Oh, season 2 was hard.
Yeah, I love season 2.
Son.
I mean, season 3 was great, but I love season 2. There was just something about season 2 that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Stranger Things lost me.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it for some reason. I think I don't know what it is. I just could not get into that show, and I wanted to, and like everybody's like, "Oh, you have to watch it," and I'm just like, no. It's like I'd rather watch all the crime documentaries on Netflix before I watch Stranger Things.
I will tell you this right now. I'll tell you this right now. The trial of Gabriel Hernandez, I don't think I can bring myself to watch it.
No, first of all, I watched it. I watched the entire thing. And that's because I can kind of handle a lot of that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if they ever get out of jail, they're not gonna be able to live a normal life. Ever. And I'm like, and that's because what they did to that poor child. What they did to that poor child is insane. He loved them unconditionally, and that's the part that drove me nuts. I think that killed me on the inside. But yeah, I watched the entire thing. I was so sad by the end of it. And it's not just him. It's a reoccurring theme. There's a lot of kids out there like that, where they're in these kind of relationships with their parents, where they love their parents unconditionally, and their parents can't stand them. And that kid did nothing wrong at all.
See that I can't handle. I can't handle.
That's like how I am when they see us, when they put that show out.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't watch that either.
Oh my god! Everything up until like the 4th episode, but I can tell you right now, like by the middle of the 1st episode, I was super heated. I was like, "You have got to be fucking kidding me about this!" Like, because I knew nothing. I knew nothing about the Central Park 5 before that. I knew absolutely nothing.
Oh, I knew about that, and that was a messed up story within itself. And I know it's loosely based off of that, but
when I watched this, and then that final episode, Jarrell Jerome earned his damn Oscar, because that final episode was in fucking sanity. I'm like, yo, what they did to him was insane. And it's like, and it's like crazy, like, because like this is happening now. That's the crazy part. It's happening now.
I was telling Ken the other day that I could never watch anything like that. Even I was telling him, even when I was a kid, like the cop episode of Fresh Prince or Family Matters and things like that. Even as a kid, I never liked watching anything like that.
It's uncomfortable as hell.
Yeah, very.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know why I can watch it. I mean, I can watch it. It can get there, but for some reason, when they see us, I think, and I don't have kids, but if I had kids, exactly. I think I would be hugging them. I'm like, because I legitimately wanted to hug every black kid I saw walking down the street. I mean, because it was legitimately that bad. And I'm like, it was just that bad. I'm like, no. I'm like, I couldn't do it. And I know it has a good outcome in the end, but still, I'm like, it was just too much for me to bear at that moment. So,
on to some fun stuff.
things we are looking forward
Yes!
to watching on
Now,
Netflix.
there's a
Oh,
a lot of
Lord.
stuff that I gotta finish.
What is next?
There's a lot of stuff I gotta finish. I don't know if I'm ready to watch this Spencer Confidential because I used to watch Spencer for Hire as a kid. I used to watch that, so I don't know if I'm ready for this Mark Wahlberg rendition of Spencer. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know. I do have a couple things saved. I'm looking at my Netflix now. Like the main event looks like it's gonna be a little cute movie. It's a WWE movie, so I figure why.
Did you see the freaking that the Big Show has his own show now?
I'm gonna start watching that too.
I saw the thumbnail, but I did not click.
I'm definitely gonna start that. I
Did
might
not select pray okay. Press okay.
I might watch Snowpiercer again before the series starts. I do remember the Snowpiercer.
I know that movie. I watched that movie too many times. So as soon as the series starts, I'm gonna be fine. Oh god, yeah, Snowpiercer. I love that show. I love that movie though.
It was a very unexpected movie. I didn't expect to like it, but I was like, let me just watch this mess. I'm like, it's awesome. This movie's really good.
You have to actually see, there is a YouTube, I don't forget the channel, but there is a assessment where they compare that to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I seen it. I seen that. I saw that. That was a good, like, what was it? Was it Film Theory?
I feel like it might have been Film Theory. I don't know who it was, but they put the two together, and I'm like, huh.
We've been watching a lot of YouTube as well.
Yeah.
At least I have.
Everything that has the name theory.
Next.
Everything that has the name theory on it. Like I've seen the guy that does Star Wars theory, another guy that does alien theory, and does that guy have like all that? Is that like all his channels?
He might be. Because I know the guy who does film theory also does game theory. I know that's the same guy. So, we'll probably do a YouTube Geekcast at one point. But one thing I do want to talk about is
Siren Head.
No, it's the most hilarious thing we've watched on YouTube. It's Pitch Meeting from Screen Rant. Pitch Meeting.
Uh-oh.
The guy's name.
Shout out to Screen Rants.
The guy's name is Ryan George. That's the guy's name who does this. He does all the pitch meetings and he has his own YouTube channel. He basically takes every movie and he takes suggestions for a movie and he does like a mock pitch meeting for him, where it's the script guy and the producer guy, and and me and Tony talked about this. It basically helps us realize that there's a lot of movies that get made that absolutely make no sense.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Even good movies.
Yeah.
Like,
even movies we enjoyed. Our favorite movies are ripped to shreds, and I'm appalled.
So in fact,
you guys are gonna have to send me a link because now I'm gonna have to. Because I just got stuck on Reddit Reddit readings for like the past like.
In fact, the latest pitch meeting he did was for the latest pitch meeting he did was for Tiger King. That was the latest one he did. Like, I was like,
no, you have to send me the link now.
In fact, you know what? I'm gonna put the link in the chat right now because I'm telling you, this guy is hilarious. This guy is hilarious.
Well, our favorite ones, there's Quiet Place, there's Lion King, live action and animated. There's a good amount of Marvel movies that he does them for. He did Game of Thrones in general. He did Game of Thrones season 8. He did a pitch meeting for pitch meetings.
Yeah.
But that probably shouldn't be the first one that you watch because you have to know the premise.
Yeah, just send it to me, and I will assess it from there. Oh my god!
Here's what I'll do.
Screen Rants has a way. Screen Rants has a way of taking your favorite beloved movies
and
taking a microscope and say, look, your favorite movie was an alien serial killer pedo or something like that. And you're like, really? You're gonna do that to my film?
I watched Screen Rant.
Yeah, but they're correct. That didn't make sense.
You're like, no. And it's like, it's facts, but you're like, no. And you're like in denial.
It's not a river in Egypt. It's not just a river in Egypt.
No.
But as far as other shows, I mean, other shows or movies, I think, I mean, for me, I'm kind of like into the horror stuff. So like they have a show that's on here now called Spectres that I want to start watching. The Kingdom.
Yes, The Kingdom is so good. It is really good.
Freud. They have a show about Freud on, and it's a foreign show, and I want to watch that one. Mainly because I just want to see how they're going to portray him.
What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you talking about?
Freud.
Oh,
Freud. Yeah, Freud. Sigmund Freud. They did a show just on him. I'm like, so I kind of have like, I'm looking at my like watch list right now. I mean, because a lot of stuff I've already watched like 95% of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else is on my list here. I was gonna finish watching Love Is Blind. No comment on that one.
I didn't start that. I've been thinking about it, but I'm like,
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
I'm like, I mean, I've gotten into it. I got to a certain point, and then I had to stop watching it because I'm like, maybe this is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching, YouTube videos on it, and I'm like, maybe this really is not for me.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing too. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah, because it's like, because you know what I'm thinking is going to happen? It's going to be like 90 Day Fiance for me. The only thing that killed 90 Day Fiance for me is I got rid of cable. And I'm like, once that happened, it was like the button clicked off, and I'm like, oh my God, what type of trash was I watching? I'm like, but it's like I have withdrawals every so often. I'm like, I have to watch 90 Day. I have to. It's like, no. I'm trying to think what else is on here that's like I'm really dying to see. Like, it really isn't much anymore. I mean, I watched that Tyler Perry movie.
Which one?
God.
Wait, what? Fall from Grace?
God.
Fall from Grace?
Yes, Fall from Grace.
Let's talk about it. Let's go. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Oh my God.
Hold up. Wait a second. Hold up. Let me get myself together. Wait a second. Hold up.
Dude, I gotta go cook.
I know.
Past the
9
studio
o'clock.
almost every day when I was living in Atlanta.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. We have to talk about this. We got to talk about the bad wigs. We have to. We got to do it. Oh my God. All right, look, listen.
No.
Listen. All right, hold up. Let me catch myself. One thing I'm going to say this. It's not one of his bad movies.
No.
It's not. I will actually give it props. It's actually not that bad.
It could have been good.
It could have been a really good movie. It could have been really good.
Excuse me. I fell off the Tyler Perry bandwagon like a long time ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just fell off.
But the thing is, something about this movie was a little bit different.
Yeah.
This is not his usual,
It's not. Yeah. This isn't his wheelhouse.
angry black woman, roar, hear me roar type of movie.
Like
Okay.
Like
I couldn't get past the numerous obvious production mistakes.
there
I
were
could not get past them.
a lot of mistakes. Like we
Yeah.
really watched the
We saw
movie just.
boom mics. We saw boom mics in the shot.
No.
Yes. he did.
No.
Yes, he did.
We literally.
Oh man, glass ceiling.
We actually talked about, like, while we were watching it, we were just like, we might as well just trying to find mistakes in this movie. That's
You don't
it.
even have to find them.
Like that's all we really got to do now. From the wigs to
Well, it's always been a wig thing with Tyler Perry. Like, you have to, you can't. Tyler Perry movie is not a Tyler Perry movie without a bad wig.
yeah, that's true.
You
Like-
can't even tell me that though, because he mentioned a couple of days ago that unfortunately his stylist died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a picture of him styling him as Colin Powell in a movie. I'm like, okay, so you got stylists that actually know how to style.
Well, wait, that was his stylist, right? That wasn't the stylist for Vice, was it?
I'm not sure, but I'm just saying. Also, Medea's wig was always late. Always.
Yeah,
How Medea have better hair than women?
I'm like, first of all, I never got over when she used when he used fake braids on people that have a full head of hair.
Look, his fake braids in The Family That Prays was ridiculous. I don't know what he was doing with that. I don't know what was going on. He just screwed up Mehcad Brooks all the way up in this one. Like his flat top was ridiculous. He did make for some good meme material. I'll say that. I mean, Ashtray bitch is gonna go down in history as one of the greatest lines in Tyler Perry movie history.
But I have to.
Good. Say it. Say it.
I have to say this with this movie, the actual premise of the movie was really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really good. And it was really realistic because it's stuff that does happen in real life. But...
And I feel like he was even calling himself out because that lawyer chick was really saying some stupid stuff. And her boss was saying that's dumb as hell.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, like, and I think he needed a lot more research.
Yeah.
He needed a lot more research in this because he's like, oh, get a plea, you don't have time, get a plea. It's like, I get that. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you're doing research, if you're a real good public defender, you're going to want to plead your case. You don't want to plead out all your cases.
Right.
If you know, at the same time, it's like there's a lot of things that went on in that case. There's a lot of things that a public defender would have caught on to right away, immediately in the story. But at the same time, I'm not going to some woman's house by myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
There was still a lot of dumb decisions that were made throughout that story. But
I've never seen a more incompetent. I don't think I've ever seen a more incompetent cop on television.
Yeah, I'm gonna handcuff. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
He left two whole people handcuffed and told them to stay. I'm like, what?
Don't go nowhere.
I mean, I'll give Tyler Perry props for that. I'm like, fuck am I gonna stand here for? I'm out. Like, you must be crazy. You telling me to wait here.
Handcuffed and all, I'm running.
Like, I'm out. Like, what? Like, no.
Handcuffed and all, I'm here. Yeah, stay right here.
But
we should talk about the real star of the show, which was old boy at the diner drinking air. And eating and eating air.
He had a whole
and staring dead at the camera.
He had a whole air breakfast. I mean, had a full plate, had a whole air breakfast, and washed it down with some air. And he's looking straight at the camera like, see me? I'm pretending to eat. I'm an actor now. Hire me.
He was probably pissed off because they probably didn't give him any food on his plate. Like, y'all really can't afford to give me some food. Like,
I could have sworn there was food on his plate though.
He legit had like a whole plate though. Like he could have. I don't know how many takes they did of that scene, but he would have been halfway done with that plate.
Oh my goodness.
That's the thing though. If you've never been, all right, for anybody who's never been on a film set, extras are fake background actors. You're not their background. You're not supposed to see them. You're not supposed to notice them.
Yeah.
I was like, they fake, drink, and eat all the time. But you are taking either incredibly small bites. You still have to think. It still has to look realistic, just in case you make it into the shot.
You're right.
Yeah. and this is and people have no. I think he once went on record and said that he does not have a writer's room. That he does everything himself.
Yeah. Totally shows
all the stuff that he's himself. He has nobody to sit there and like say like, okay, look, that's wrong. That shot's wrong. I think there's something called a set director that does that.
If there was
or a script supervisor.
That's it. Yeah,
script supervisor.
Yeah.
Yes. You're right, Tom. Script supervisor.
If there was ever proof that he doesn't have a writer's room, that was it. That movie was it.
He got some shows on BET right now that totally
those two.
use it.
That's
Totally
it. The Oval and that other mess and all that stuff.
But I got sucked in and now I can't stop watching them. Sad.
Yeah, that's how most of the stuff is. I mean, as far as Netflix, I mean, the one thing I have to say is Netflix is doing the one thing a lot of other, a lot of other streaming sites are not doing. Not to say anything, Disney Plus.
Yeah. They're really slow on the content and everything. I mean, I understand that they're trying to go big with the Star Wars shows and the Marvel shows and everything like that there, but oh god,
it's funny that you mentioned.
Things are always a slow build. I mean, how long has Netflix been in the game? They're pretty much one of the first streaming services.
Yeah. But
you would really have to just love Disney, like you have to really just love the Disney films and the Disney lore. You have to really want to watch Peter Pan. You have to really want to watch Dumbo. You have to really want to watch all those things and revisit the classic Disney films. But if you're like a young person of today,
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I caught myself watching some old Disney movies. I'm not gonna sit there in front. Like I sat down and watched, some films that I haven't seen. I said that was the first film I ever turned on. I didn't even turn on Star Wars, and I love Star Wars. The first film I ever turned on when I got Disney Plus was Play the Navigator. I'm like, that was the first film I turned on. I'm like, come on now, like I can relive it, but I need Disney to kind of get a move on because, like, you have new movies and you have movies that you can definitely put on there. And
it's fun. It's funny.
We watched a couple of
Artemis Fowl's coming.
But it's funny because we were
hurry up.
Me and Tani were.
We watched a couple of Simpsons shorts.
I actually don't watch The Simpsons anymore.
I don't watch it as much as I used to, but I do find myself, if there's nothing else on, I will go to FXX and just binge a bunch of episodes.
But
I don't watch it anymore. But I can't get into it.
But it's funny though, because me and Tani were talking earlier, and we were saying that how, you would think that whatever catalogs that they have out there, they would have majority of those things on there. It's crazy that Infinity War is still on Netflix, but Endgame's on Disney Plus. Like, how would you not? How do you guys not have Infinity War or Ant-Man and the Wasp, both of which are on Netflix?
Yeah.
Well, how long is their contract for?
I think their contract is up soon. So I'm like, well, literally, it's still like you have new content, but you're not putting that new content. Like, this is the time that you put the new content out because this is like a lot of people right now are on that Verizon thing where they're getting it free for a year. And they're doing this, and after that year, they're not going to renew.
That's true.
Because they're going to see that you didn't put out content for an entire year.
Like, what you call it, Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision. All these things should have been lined up they really should have been lined up to premiere a few months after Endgame was over. Yeah, honestly speaking,
this should have all been out this year. Everything should have been out this year, and we should have had something to keep us moving. Yeah. People are not streaming Disney Plus because literally, I'm not gonna say people. I'm not. I'm gonna say that I'm not streaming Disney Plus. That's the last thing on my agenda to go into Disney Plus. I was like, I look at the thing and I'm like, oh, is there anything new? No. Okay, back to Netflix. Or back to YouTube.
I even said that like I wasn't gonna get Disney Plus until the new stuff came out. I mean, we got the Mandalorian and stuff, which I'm going to be watching because thanks to my brother, I got Disney Plus now. But before that, I was like, until the Marvel stuff is out, I don't even get this.
You're just now watching the Mandalorian?
Well, we
just downloaded it today.
We just got Disney Plus today.
Harold, that's why they put it on us to do the Mandalorian thing, but that's okay. I'm not going to say nothing about it. I peeped that earlier.
But seriously,
woo!
But honestly,
that's Star Wars television for me.
That is straight up gold.
But honestly speaking, I wasn't gonna pay that money just for one show. I wasn't gonna do that.
I understand.
I mean, and I did, and I did, and I'm like, but the thing is, I also like Disney content. So for me, I'm like, okay, the movies are there, but if you're not going to put the movies out and you're not going to continuously put out content, what's the purpose, or what is the reason for me to actually keep it?
Like, I mean, I'll probably catch myself watching like DuckTales or Darkwing Duck and Gargoyles and definitely The Mandalorian.
But you should probably watch like an episode or two of the one of the formers. You know?
Exactly. You know, so it's like, I mean, and you know what the funny part is? It's the same thing with
What?
What? I can't. That's blurry, Harold. I can't really see that.
Oh, I didn't look. Hold on, wait.
Talking about Simpsons figures.
I have the entire first wave of Simpsons action figures.
But even it's like, you know, it's just the thing about it is like, you know, I think they're holding on to Mando.
Yeah.
They're holding on to Mando, and they're holding on to this, and they're saying, okay, but I'm like, you have a new Star Wars movie out. You have a new Star Wars
How
movie.
is Rise of Skywalker not on there?
You need
That don't make no sense.
I know.
And it needs to be on your streaming. Like, the problem is that you're putting out content and you're trying to drag money out of people because you're like, oh, well, you can rent it. No, put it on your streaming service because I paid for it. Why would I rent it through Amazon? If that's the case, I'm gonna give Amazon my money and pay them to rent it because I don't need it for that one time.
Exactly.
Right.
You know,
and it's funny because like I have the same issue with the DC Universe streaming service.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I can't stand DC streaming service, man. I was done.
You know how many movies that the DC animated universe has put out, and all of them are not on the DC's Universe streaming service? Red Sun just came out, and I can't watch it on the DC streaming service? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if I really want,
that's why I didn't get it. I mean, I hate to say it that way. I legitimately, I mean, it's probably other ways I can watch it a lot better and a lot, you know, without paying for it. I'm like, and the thing is, I legitimately did not. I weighed my options, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get the same thing with you know, after my year with Disney Plus, I don't think I'm gonna renew.
In fact, I'm still bugging out over the fact that every live action DC movie that is out there is not on the streaming service. How do you not have the Dark Knight trilogy on your streaming service? Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. How do you not have that on there? That is the main point of it for you having that. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Harley Quinn. That cartoon is fucking hilarious. I love it. Harley Quinn is fucking hilarious. I love it, and I enjoy Titans.
Brilliant.
I'm upset that we only got season 1 of Swamp Thing. I am really upset about that.
Oh God! I don't know what happened with that.
I honestly feel like these streaming services have really got to get a wrangle because if not, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime are still going to be top tier because they're giving us exactly what we were looking for. Like,
because exactly, and they know how to get it, and that's the part that they're like, and that's the part that I think they're not understanding is that I will be willing to give Amazon
exactly
$10 to rent something.
Right.
Yeah.
If I could legitimately rent it for 24 hours.
Like, the daggone Invisible Man, that came out, Friday the 13th, right? Of March?
Yes.
And it was already, we weren't even quarantined yet. And it was already out. Like, come on, people. Like, we got to get on the ball here. Like, what are we doing?
That was just when the movie theaters started to close, and I'll never forget, Rouge and I were trying to go see Bloodshot, and every theater that we went to that said that like a film was starting at 9 o'clock and we were there at 8:30, it said it was sold out, but they were like...
Because as soon as we were quarantined, as soon as it happened, Netflix just started pumping out their content. It was like, you know what? Every single day I have something new that's on my list that wasn't there before. Every single week I have something new that wasn't there before. And I thank you, Netflix, for all of that because we're pumping out this content. And we're, you know, and you're helping us out by, you know, keeping us entertained. Thank you so much, Netflix, for that. Because I don't know how it was.
I didn't know when. I honestly didn't know when I was going to be able to watch Parasite. I was actually almost willing to pay for it until it dropped on Hulu. And once it dropped on Hulu, I was like, yo.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't have Hulu, but I might just for the one, I might just do the free service again. Just for the week, just to watch Parasite, and just to get rid of it. Because I don't necessarily, that's one thing about it. The only reason why I had Hulu was to watch Sailor Moon.
Like, if it wasn't for Hulu, I wouldn't have been able to catch up on One Punch Man. I wouldn't have been able to catch up on My Hero Academia. Like,
yeah, and that's another thing. And like when I start getting into, because there's still anime that's on Netflix, and I still have to get to. I still have to get the Sword Art Online. I'm still.
JoJo.
Oh, yeah, JoJo. Yeah,
in fact, there's a couple of animes on Netflix I need to start getting into. I binged Baki. I finished Baki out.
Baki was dope.
There's still a couple of those,
Baki
like
was dope.
the Kenshin one I gotta watch. And there's a couple things. Ultraman, I haven't started watching Ultraman yet. I gotta watch Ultraman. Like, this is why these streaming services are winning. Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. This is why they're winning, because they like, once, like you said, Kim, once that pandemic hit, once quarantine hit, it was like, all right, drop them. Drop them all.
Drop.
Drop them all.
It was just drop. And it was like, and I'm like, it was automatic. It was just like it came out of nowhere. It was like content. It's like, oh, you don't like this? Don't worry. Just go, here's another thing for you.
Yep.
Here's another thing for you. Here's another thing for you. Oh, you finished that? Don't worry. Here's another thing. It's like, I have legitimately had, like, and they know people have more time. They used to drop it every so often because people were working. I'm like, people have more time. They are sitting there watching these, and Netflix has gotten, I think, a lot of my time.
Oh, yeah.
If anything. If anything, Netflix has gotten, even over Amazon Prime, I think Netflix has gotten a lot of my time, a lot of press time from me, because I'm just sitting there watching everything I can.
Like just the other day, I paid for Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge for Amazon. I paid for it. Like, on the day it dropped,
Mortal
I paid for it and I watched
Kombat. We're gonna have to talk about that one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably have to watch it first, because I'm like, I'm not paying for it.
In fact, Harold, me and you might have to do a joint review. I think we might have to do a joint review.
And I have a feeling that we might be on opposite ends of the spectrum on this one.
Well, why did you like it?
Here it is. I liked it, but I felt as if I was watching a DC movie that was forced to be violent.
I can see that.
That sounds interesting.
Like
that sounds very interesting. Hold on, wait a second.
My thing about it is this. I like it. I didn't love it.
Okay.
And the reason why I didn't love it is because of the pacing of it. Everything else, like,
I think that's probably
it definitely felt like. Here's what I said in my last live stream. I said, one of the first things first is I'm really surprised at WB. I'm surprised it took them this long to put on something other than DC animated. Like, they've had the rights to Mortal Kombat since like 2009. Yes. They've had the rights to Mortal Kombat, and it's like, we've gone all these years. The only thing we've had Mortal Kombat based was the games. Yeah, we're getting a reboot movie in 2021. We're getting that. But aside from that, we haven't had anything else Mortal Kombat related. The comic books are the only exception. Mortal Kombat X comics are the only exception, but we haven't had anything else.
Right.
I'm surprised with how many DC movies they put out. Why would they, like, you know what? We own Mortal Kombat right now. Why don't we put out a short or something? Why do we not do that? This was a decent. The movie was decent, but I think they tried. They started out doing one thing, and then it morphed into something else by the middle of the movie.
Yeah, and I just felt like they were just trying. I mean, it was like, okay, we're gonna do. Hey, we got Mortal Kombat. We're gonna do. This is a good story. We're going to center around Scorpion, and we're just going to just incorporate what goes on in the video game in the film. It was, like I said, it felt forced. It felt like we're going to have the fatalities. We're just going to force the fatalities, and I think the animation itself was not appropriate for that. This should have been the
animation style for it. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, even though they had some really shady Knuckles, which didn't make any sense to me. But that's something else. But, like, with the animation that we get for the DC movies, I'm like, why didn't you just call them?
Right.
Why didn't you call them to do this movie? And a lot of the recent DC animated movies have gone into, like, the blood and violent territory, We've seen that.
Yeah.
The Superman movies, the Death of Superman and the Death and Return of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they show how the violence and stuff that was in the movie. I'll give them credit for that. But I just think, as far as the story is concerned, there was just a couple of things that, like basically at the end of the movie, I felt like this is a pretty good Elseworlds Mortal Kombat story. Like,
okay,
that's what I looked.
Okay,
I looked at it like that.
Yeah.
It's like this is like a pretty decent Elseworlds Mortal Kombat story. It's not like the main story from like the one we got from the Mortal Kombat 2011 game. It's not that. It's a good parallel Elseworlds story. Like if this was like a different universe of Mortal Kombat, that's what it's good for.
Right.
You know, but you know what? Like I think going forward, if they want to do anything more with this, with the Mortal Kombat property, just really make it character oriented. Like the Scorpion's Revenge. There's so many things they could have done. If they started out being about Scorpion, and then it was kind of about Scorpion towards the end of it.
Right.
That's what I felt about the movie. Like, it's good, but there's just a lot of things that could have been fixed with it. Like, there could have been a lot of things that could have been done better with it, in my honest opinion. Like, I'm gonna still tell people, definitely watch it, give it a watch. You'll definitely get a kick out of it, especially with the way they do things. You know, it's definitely in tone with the new Mortal Kombat games. It's definitely in tone with that. But
I'm not saying that it's terrible. I'm not saying that it's a bad movie. It's not bad. I would say, Derek said, it's fun to watch.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm like, that was kind of forced.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically what I'll say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, you guys, I know we've been on for a minute.
Yeah. So we're getting.
Whoa, 2 hours and 25 minutes of geek out goodness, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you got.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to take this thing down. Some of us got to eat, and some of us got some other stuff to do. I think the next time we jump on here, we'll probably, I guess we'll tackle some other streaming services as well. Maybe we'll do. Well, you don't have Hulu, Kim, so we can't do Hulu really.
No.
We'll probably just do YouTube. I think that would be the best bet because I don't watch.
Because a lot of us have been sitting up here watching YouTube.
Because I don't watch enough. And I don't get a lot of stuff off of Amazon Prime to do a one on that. And
yeah, me neither.
And really, we only really watch Hulu to catch up on shows that we missed during the week. If there's something there, like we caught that on something else. That was something else. But like, it's really Netflix what we really watch. Netflix and YouTube is really what we would watch.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, it's like Netflix, YouTube, and that's like between the two of them, I'm kind of like bouncing around from like oh, better yet, like if anybody has any suggestions on anything we should watch on YouTube, you definitely should go over to our Facebook page. Let us know. You know, or comment below. Let us know what you think we should check out on YouTube because we're all watching it. We're all home.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I have my subscription list and stuff of things that I watch on YouTube. Okay.
So definitely, if you guys have any suggestions or anything that you guys watch that you think we would find interesting, you want us to talk about, I think you guys should just let us know.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
You know. So,
absolutely.
You know. So like, definitely like send us all your suggestions, whether it's here in the comment section, on our Facebook page, you know, Discord or whatever, you know, because again, just like Kim and Harold, I spend half as much time on YouTube as I do on Netflix. I probably spend more time on YouTube than I do on Netflix.
I fall asleep to YouTube.
I like since this pandemic, since quarantine, I've definitely fallen asleep to a couple of videos too.
Yeah,
I've definitely fallen asleep to a couple of videos on YouTube.
I've been falling asleep to Markiplier playing that. There's a couple of games. Can we go gamer for just a second?
Yes, we can.
As some of you that have been ranting and everything on Facebook, I do have a brand new laptop which has the capability of recording whatever is on screen.
Awesome.
And there was some pretty interesting short games. One is called Siren Head. It's like an SCP type of a creature, along the lines of Slender Man, and Momo. Very, very interesting creature. There's a video game called Siren Head. Please go and check that out. And also, there's another game called Open House. And I think I'm going to probably play that and send that to my fiance, because she's always looking for houses and property and everything. And it's a virtual open house where you get to check out a house that you might think about buying, and some interesting things are discovered in that virtual house tool.
Interesting.
So he's on Steam, or?
I believe he's on Steam. You can just search it, and please do play the game. It's interesting.
I definitely got to get more into Steam. I have a Steam account, but I haven't really been, looking through it. But I definitely got to jump into that.
Yeah, there's there used to be, I don't know if there is anymore, but there used to be a website where you can go and pay like a certain amount of money, and they give you like all of these different codes where you can download like games, like 6-7 games from Steam.
Interesting.
For like you pay like $15 and you get like 4 or 5 games.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know if they still have that, but like, yeah, that's what I used to do, is just download games that way, and that's how I got introduced to a lot of the games that from Steam.
I'm gonna have to look for that then. I've been busy with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, I have to you're not the first person who said that to me, and you're not the first person to me. That was like 2 hours for the day. So,
is that available for PC, by the way?
I believe. I'm not sure because it's a remake.
Let me find out.
I'll check Steam right now, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because my laptop, I found out, is pretty powerful, and it can actually play games like that.
But yeah, it's I was definitely playing that the demo last night, and the one thing I had to say is that there was just too much stuff going on for me.
There's definitely like a lot of minor changes to the game from when the original came out. It's a lot more in depth, I should say. I guess that's the best way to put it. The game has become a lot more in depth. There's a lot more things you got to do. The side quests are one of those things that it might seem tedious at a time, but there's definitely a good payoff for it in the end. I enjoy the battle mechanics, even though it makes things a lot more difficult than the original. Like, how the original.
Yeah, that's the part that bothers me. It's not necessarily the gameplay itself. The gameplay I'm fine with. It's legitimately the battle scenes that bother me, because it's the whole switching through character stuff that's really starting to irk me. And I'm like, and the way it's done, and I'm like, I have to remember, okay, I have to press R1 to switch to this person and switch to this, and how do I get him to shoot this, and how do I, so it's like,
oh wow,
it's like I have to kind of retrain my brain to do 2 things at once, and I'm like, ugh.
The battle system is very involved now. It's not like how it was with the old one, which was turn-based. This one, you like really got to be quick on your toes. So it's like, for an instance for this game, materia and magic have to be your best friend. And that was the other thing, is getting used to the way magic. You got to think, you're coming from somebody who just, like, the closest I got to Final Fantasy was basically playing Kingdom Hearts. So I'm like, and that in itself for me was a lot of controls and involvement and stuff like that, and getting used to that. So this is now like a totally different handicap for me. So I'm like, I've been told to download it. They were like, download it. I'm like, I downloaded the demo too, and and like even the battle that I had, like the main battle, like I died once.
It took me a while no, I didn't die.
I died once. I'll tell you that right now. I died once, but then I got the hang of it. But like, it's still, it takes a lot of getting used to the battle system. Yeah, it takes.
That's why I was shocked that I didn't die, and I actually went back and played it. I played it on normal, and I played it on easy just to see what the difference was. And neither one did I die. That's why I'm actually pretty shocked. But that's why I think the Kingdom Hearts part came into play, because I'm so used to Kingdom Hearts that I'm kind of used to that kind of play mode. But it's still kind of different because you have to switch between the 2 players. Or, and that's what the demo was for me. It's like switching through multiple players is what I have to get used to, because I'm like, I forget who does what, how to get there, when to get there, and but I think I might shell out the 60 just to actually just to play the game and just get it out of my system.
Okay, so it says Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, it's PS4 only. I was gonna tell you
it's
that.
PS4. It should come to PC, but it won't happen until 2021.
Wow.
So yeah, it's all PS4,
you know what'll happen
guys.
for you guys?
Yeah.
You know what'll probably happen for the PC guys? You might get a bigger game, because from what I understand, the ones we have right now isn't the full Final Fantasy VII. I think it's like, I believe it's only like a portion of it. Like,
and that's okay. I mean, either way you look at it. I mean, even when you play on PC, regardless of the fact when you play on PC, the game is different anyway. The graphics are always going to be a little bit more refined. Everything else is going to be a little bit better on PC. So I mean, I'm always expecting that from PC. But like I said, for me, this will be like my first like Final Fantasy game. So I've never played Final Fantasy. Like, I know about them, seen them played. But I've never technically played them myself.
Like I remember seeing Final Fantasy games for like Super NES, but I never played any of them. I didn't really care for it. Like the first Final Fantasy I got introduced to was Final Fantasy VII. That was the first one I ever got introduced to. I have Final Fantasy 15. I was
gonna get that too. I was gonna. That was on my list. I had the two on my list: the Final Fantasy 15. I have Final Fantasy 7.
I haven't played that in a good while. I might actually have to start over again, to be honest with you. But
yeah, and I get it. And it's like, and they're doing a lot of the remakes. They're doing a lot of stuff to make them actual, like, legit games for the actual server. But I also want to see what happens when the PS5 comes out.
That too. Yeah, that too. Actually, I'm just ready. Honestly speaking, I'm just ready to see the console right now. I'm just ready to see the PS5 console.
Wow.
Okay, we've seen the controller. That's great. I want to see the console. Let's just see it.
I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush at all. I'm like, I usually, even with the PS4, I mean, the way I got it, it was a Christmas present. So, like, for me, it was like, okay, I got it, but there weren't no games out for it, really, when I got it. So that's a lot of why I'm not in a rush for the PS5.
Like, I waited a good while to get my PS4. Like, and I'm glad I did, because I think I don't even know how long I waited to get my PS3. But I got my PS3 when it was still like super expensive. That's when I got mine. I think the only game, in fact, I think I got PS3 just a little bit after launch, because I think the only game I got for it, the only game that was new for was Spider-Man
Uncharted.
3.
I got Uncharted.
I got Spider-Man 3. That's how far back I got my PS3. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, when I got my PS3, Uncharted came with it. So that was the first game I ever had for my PS3.
I had the big boy PlayStation 3 too, like the Fat Boy. I had that.
I traded that one out. I mean, I had two PS3s. And that's because I upgraded the hard drive on one of them, and I sold it.
I do miss my Fat Boy PS3 though, because that was backwards compatible.
Exactly, and that's what I like. That was a dumb thing I did, because when I had changed the hard drive, I had to. It kind of changed a lot of the stuff in it, because I wanted to get a 1 terabyte. But now, like, now of course, everything's coming out 1 terabyte memory, or at least
Unfortunately, my Fat Boy PS3 fell victim to the yellow light of death 3 times.
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
that's what happened to my PS3. So, and then
my Xbox 360. Whoa, it plays one game now. It plays one game. It plays Left 4 Dead when it's in a good mood.
Like after the yellow light of death stuff, I got rid of my Fat Boy, and I got a PlayStation 3 Slim, and I haven't been having problems with it, but. I can definitely wait on the PS5. I want to see.
I want to see what happens, because the first launch is always horrible.
Yeah.
And I want to wait on the PS5. Just for this, like the PS4 now, I had to get an external 1 terabyte because
me too.
I download so many games that it was just overloading it at one point. Like, it was running hot for a while.
I had to do the same thing. I had to get like an external hard drive for my PS4 also. I was like, and I didn't even download that much onto the system, which is the crazy part. But
It's all it takes is one game.
Yeah.
All it takes is you put one disc in there, and that just takes up the whole memory.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm like, so it's like I got I got that. So I'm like, I'm waiting because I want to see how much memory they're gonna try to stuff into that.
I'm in the same boat too. I want to see what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah, I want to see how much memory. I want to see how much resolution. I want to see how the games are gonna come out.
Yeah.
And I want, because we have the Unreal Engine on this one. I'm like, what's gonna be the next engine for the next games that are coming out? What's gonna be the next thing? Because I want to be able to I want it to be so seamless. Like, I don't even know I'm playing a game anymore. I think I'm watching a movie. That's how I want it. And especially if I'm going to pay that much.
Speaking of that, I was watching Markiplier play Resident Evil 3, and I didn't have my glasses on. And there was a cutscene, and I had my glasses on. I was like, is that full motion video? I was like, whoa! That's some graphics for your ass right there. I was like, wow, I was very impressed.
I'll admit right now that I've been very impressed with what they've been doing with these games. Like, going back to Mortal Kombat, out of all the Mortal Kombat games that came out, like Mortal Kombat.
Because you can put the same game out for Xbox and it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And same thing. You put the game out for PC, it's going to be way better because your graphics card's going to play a lot better. Especially if you have a really good graphics card.
Exactly,
so it's like it's all depending. So it's definitely, that's kind of where I want my PlayStation to be. If I'm going to be spending that much money and I'm going to be upgrading this PS5, and that's like, and I feel as though I still haven't finished games for the PS4 at this point.
I agree. I definitely agree.
And I'm like, if I'm going to be doing all this, I'm like, I need backwards compatibility. I need to be able to throw my PS4, stuff in there and play it.
Exactly.
And I need to be able to know that if I do play the next game, I'm like, I want it to be the same quality as, a PC. I want to be able to throw it in there and, like, when I throw it, I want to be able to be just as smooth, just as clear, just as, seamless.
Right.
As the next one. I'm like, I want to be able to not have a loading screen, if that makes sense.
I understand.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you.
Because the sad part about and I'll admit it, like, people talk about PlayStation when your PlayStation has to update, your PlayStation has to update.
It does, and like I have it set where like it updates in the middle of the night, like during my regular hours, like during my normal schedule, it updates in the middle of the night when I'm not on it. It does what it needs to do. You just gotta let it do what it does. I mean,
they do what it do.
But you're talking about like literally 20-30 minutes sometimes of an update. I'm like, but it's like when it needs to update, it's update. That's one thing I give credit for Xbox for. It's like when they update Xbox, like in and out.
Yeah.
Done. It's in and out done. But it's like when a PlayStation needs to update, and that's one of the things. If you're gonna update my PlayStation, make something good, make me notice it, make it real.
Right.
But yeah, you guys, I gotta go eat something. I'm starving.
Yeah. We're gonna shut this out. We're gonna close this out. We'll be back again. At some point, probably next week. I don't know.
But I'm not doing anything. As long as it's after work, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. So we'll probably be back at some point next week. Give everybody a little bit of a breather. Or if we want to come back a little bit early, we'll probably come back a little bit early. We'll let you guys know. But we'll come back and when we come back, it's gonna be all about, content from YouTube. That's all we're gonna be talking
guys. Making dinner.
All right. So definitely, continue to follow us on the YouTube channel. We're officially back. We're gonna try to maintain a proper schedule, not like how it was before. We're gonna try to keep everything contained. I know we went overtime today, but that's only because we haven't done this in a while. So
I just missed talking to you all.
So we really had to catch. We really had a lot of catching up to do. So, but we'll try to keep a little. We'll try to the YouTube channel definitely. The audio for this will be up most likely tomorrow. So if you got whatever podcast services you got, definitely look for the audio up there. If you can't see the video and stuff, definitely go to our Facebook fan page, like us there. We're gonna try to get that back up and going, and definitely follow us on Instagram. So we'll definitely be posting up a lot more on Instagram as well. All right.
Yeah.
And please send your suggestions on YouTube content that you want us to check out. All right. Send us all the suggestions you got. Okay.
Yeah, everything. I will sit down and watch it while I'm. I'll sit down and watch it all morning and halfway into 3 o'clock in the morning for you guys just to get the content out.
Yeah.
But other than that, the Dreadlock Word is signing off. Everybody else got anything? Any last things to say? Last hit. All right. So, as always, one more time, back again, the council has
spoken.
We will catch you guys next time. Peace.
I love your t-shirt, Kim. I love it.